This is a story from Newsweek. Donald Trump supporters flipping to Kamala Harris, according to a new poll. I believe it.
Oh, yeah.
I instantly believe that Trump supporters would vote, would switch to Kamala Harris.
That's not all it narrative created.
All it took.
Yeah.
Yes, it's two of them. All it took was for Joe Biden to drop out of the race and endorse Kamala, for Trump supporters to be like, oh, well, you know, maybe I guess I'll be a Democrat now.
Finally, it's her turn.
That's right. So Newsweek says, according to a new poll from CNN, a CNN poll released on Wednesday found that Harris is gaining some of Trump's supporters. Though the former president continues to hold a lead overall, the poll showed Harris trailing 3 points, 49 to 46. Still, the poll found that 95% of Biden's supporters are continuing to stick with Harris, while she is winning over 5% of Trump's former supporters. I do not believe that for a second.
No.
Somebody get me the poll on RFK supporters right now, because I bet he is raking them in after Biden left. I think there were a lot of people who were on the fence, but looked at Kamala and were like, not this lady.
Yeah,
I just want you all to see this. Okay, this is civics. Kamala Harris, unfavorability, 56%. Favorability, 36%. Do you think she is doing better or worse than Donald Trump?
It's never ever crossed. Like, she's never ever been more favorable than unfavorable.
Guys.
Wow.
Do you think she is doing better or worse than Donald Trump?
Worse.
Absolutely doing worse. But they're just gonna tell you.
Outright doing worse. Trump's unfavorability is 2 points lower at 54, and his favorability is 10 points higher at 40. What is it, 36? Okay, 6 points higher at 42% favorability.
And that's with like nonstop terrible press for the last 8 years.
Here's the best part. Among Gen Z, Trump is still more favorable than Kamala Harris at 32% favorability to Kamala's 31% favorability. Now, to be fair, Trump's got a higher unfavorability, but sure, Trump is more favorable and less unfavorable across the board than Kamala Harris. You mean to tell me someone's going to quit Donald Trump for Kamala Harris?
At least
they're going to break up with Trump over text.
Must have it.
Two
Plural.
people.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
I don't. How many people they polled? I guess it's 260,000.
Now, what do you think about women? Do you think women like Kamala or don't like Kamala?
I don't think they know a thing about her. I think they just go, "Ooh, lady in a pantsuit, she's dancing."
Yo, check this out.
Yeah, I think girls always don't like each other secretly. So not all of them, but a lot of them.
You mentioned.
You're right.
You mentioned.
But they'll support
Hannah Claire,
the sisterhood if they think it's going to be like a benefit to them.
You mentioned that there was no point at which she was more favorable. Among women, she was.
Oh, Lord.
Vice presidential debate, inauguration day. But with men, she has never been above water.
Shocking.
Now, what about non-college graduates?
No, way lower.
Wow. No, non-college graduate represents the entirety. Almost identically. Look at that. It barely changes.
That's weird.
College grads, same thing. Wow. What about postgraduates? They love her, right? Yep, I thought so.
Yeah.
Look at that. They like her a lot more.
Because they were told to, and they're good at
So
following
it's
the
the
rules.
college-educated people and the women. Again.
Oh, look at this. Even Democrats don't like her. Her favorability among Democrats is only 77.
That's the best one.
Among Republicans, it's just... Look at Republicans actually liked her. Like, a little bit. Oh, no, they were unsure of her. Okay, that's fair. I accept that. Independent voters mostly don't like the lady. I don't blame them. What about Donald Trump? I bet college grads hate the guy.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. College graduates, yep. And it doesn't really change much for non-college graduates. Oh, I'm sorry. That was Gen Z. That was my bad. There we go. Yeah, it doesn't change all that much. Non-college, meh. It's fairly stable across the board.
Now let's see the women.
Oh, do women? They hate Trump.
Yeah.
Men, they like him. They're 50-50. What are you going to do? So why are they putting this fake poll out? I mean, it does show that Trump is winning, but what is the purpose of trying to claim...
They're manifesting.
Yeah, media manipulation. They'll get a poll of 10,000 people, and then they'll tell the world it represents the entire world to get them to think that way, so that they just sit back and allow it to happen.
I think some of it's timing, too. They need this campaign to get momentum this week.
Yeah.
In the first 10 days. Otherwise, it's just never going to work. And the virtual roll call and the convention are going to be rough. It will also, if she doesn't actually get some momentum under her, then it will inspire a different Democrat to challenge her. It'll be like, you told us that she was the way out and it's not working. And so, that window of time for them before the nomination is going to become more frantic.
I'm just going to be so interested to see, because we know that there's always intelligence agencies, there's secretive groups, there's this tip of the iceberg of what we see going on, which is what we've been mostly talking about. And then there's all this covert stuff that we know goes on that we don't know about. Sometimes we never find out. Sometimes it's years later you start to find out about it. I wonder what else, because we're only in July, and I was thinking about what's happened this month with the Trump thing, and then Biden dropping out, these unprecedented things, and then Netanyahu's here, and there's people rioting, and there's crazy stuff going on. And I'm like, what does this remind me of? And I was like, maybe World War I. So I went back and looked. World War I had 1914, prior to the outbreak of World War I, with the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand by a 23-year-old student he took the fall for the assassination, but it was the Black Hand, which was like a secret association of a lot of Serbian army officers who were pushing for like Balkan unification. There was all this stuff going on simmering below the surface, and the public didn't know about it, partially because it was 1914 and the news cycle's a lot slower, but also
They weren't all on
like,
X on the other day?
They had this kicked off something called the July Crisis. And it was the month of July where all of these, it was like a cascade of bizarre, unforeseen events that kicked off World War I. And I feel like this is only July. What's going to happen when we have an October surprise this cycle? What's going to happen the next 3 months that...
Do you think we'll even feel the October surprise? Like, we'll be so out of like jump scare shocks that we'll just be like, oh, another one.
This was the October surprise. This was the big one.
No.
Biden stepping out all of a sudden. It was
crazy. In all seriousness, though, like, what could an October surprise be?
It makes you wonder, like, what other shoe is going to drop. And I feel like there's something big. I don't have anything other than my feels, but I just
Trump announces he's marrying Kamala.
Yeah, I mean, the worst case scenario is Trump is assassinated. They blame it on Iran. Nikki Haley steps in, wins the election.
No.
George, what's his name? Pompeo. She makes him her VP, and then they take us into war in Iran. That's the worst case scenario in my mind.
Well, Netanyahu did say today that he thinks the attempt on Trump's life was Iran.
Sure. That's they want us to go to war with Iran. So he's part of that group that wants us in war with Iran.
That seems wild to say to me. Like, my rational brain is like,
of course Israel is going to say that.
Yeah, of course they
would.
It
was Iran. You better go get them.
Who's going to buy that? This 20-year-old college
I tell you,
kid?
if Trump had been killed, 2 weeks ago with that bullet, a lot of people in the Republican Party would believe it out of rage.
That was the plan. Because right away they were like, "Oh, Iran was planning it."
There to accept the nomination. I don't think that they planned on him being there at all.
And then Nikki Haley would have been the nominee.
Angry people are easy to manipulate, so that's I think was their plan. Yeah,
and then they'd come out and they'd say this was Iran in retaliation for
out of hopelessness. People would be like, "Whatever, anything to make me feel a little better. Let's get them."
Yeah, well, that's what happened to us after 9/11. Right? This rare moment of unity we had, which it was just like nobody cared who was actually responsible. We just need to go get someone. Just any Middle Eastern country, we don't care. We need to invade and we need to kick everyone's ass.
And I think that's a very human response, right? When something terrible happens, you want there to be an immediate action. You want someone to have a consequence.
I think that explains why. Because if you really wanted to get rid of Trump, there's a million more surefire ways to do it than taking the risk of a headshot on live TV. But that's what they did to JFK, and they wanted to traumatize everyone, freak everybody out, because then whatever you do after, people will just accept. They'll just roll with it.
I think they wanted to go to war with Iran. Nikki Haley be the nominee. Trump would be gone. They said Iran did it. It was a plot. They supplied him. I think the reason right now we're not getting an official story is because whatever they had lined up was based on Iran, and now it makes no sense. And so they're like, ooh.
Yeah, the trickle out of the Iranian assassination attempt 3 days after the assassination attempt, unrelated, was like, oh, bro, that's part of the failed plot. I get it now.
They were going to come out and find an Iranian passport on the ground and be like, look,
exactly,
we got him. And then
it was Iranians with box cutters.
Yeah, there's already been a conversation among Trump supporters that if an adversary of the United States took out an American president, you have to go to war. Mm-hmm. I actually agree that's the case, so long as you can prove it in this declaration. But if a nation can't defend its own leader from a foreign adversary, like, I don't know that you have a country.
Yeah.
I think they want to exploit that, but they screwed up. Or, we have this video, like we had an article we didn't pull up, but people think aliens or God intervened because there's like a mysterious object in the sky. So the aliens, saved Trump or whatever. They made him turn his head at the right moment.
He did create Space Force, right? So maybe they're like, dude, thanks. That was diplomacy to us.
I noticed.
And, you're our guy.
Spirits guide you. Sometimes you don't make every decision with your own ego. Sometimes your body will do things and that wasn't really your intention. your earthly intent, but that's a spirit moving you in a pattern.
That is true. That is true.
And that's beyond God. It's like
thing.
there are spirits that are intervening in behavior. I can't say that with too much confidence. I don't know for sure, but I believe
Well, to speak to atheists on this matter, don't say God. Say the programmer of the simulation. And don't say angels, say administrators.
Exactly. There you go.
administrators. So like the God,
Or GMs.
I think of the God as like the ocean, and the angels or the spirits are the boat that we're on. So like they're both moving us, but in different. The God is the larger metamaterial.
God is Wilbert Alfredson, who is sitting at his computer right now programming Earth simulation, and the angels are the administrative bots that are going around and running things behind the scenes.
So
I don't think a guy could write a simulation this bizarre. I don't think that, like, even if there was a programmer writing a simulation, the one we're in, the timeline we're in right now is just so weird.
Oh, but it's entertaining.
what about an AI?
It's
It is.
entertaining.
It's
A
a lot of
super
fun,
intelligent AI, more intelligent than all humans combined.
What if, Ian, you're the AI, and the reason you exist in this reality is because you are in an AI training program.
I'm actually
Before
IA,
the advanced
Ken.
civilization put the AI into use, they want to make sure it's morally good. Otherwise, it could destroy civilization.
I
so
hope
what
that's
they
not
do
true, Tim.
is they isolate you, AI Ian, in this world to see how you behave. And if you live a good and moral, just life, after your life ends, you'll wake up in full control of the cybersphere of the advanced civilization, and they'll say, we trust you based on how you lived your life in the simulation. We think you will do good by us as our AI overlord.
I just saw that Rick and Morty clip from Rick and Morty it's making rounds on X right now, where Rick's like, "Hey Morty, check this out," and he puts this headpiece on Morty, and he goes into this like reality where he like wakes up as a little kid. He's like, "I just had a dream that I was this guy with this weird old man," and then he like lives a life as Roy.
Yeah, that's the Roy game.
Yeah,
And 2 of them, I think.
50 years go by, and then he dies in the game, and he's like, "Where's my?" And he comes out of it, and he's
Where's
like,
my
"Where's my
family?"
wife?" And Rick's like, "It was just a game, Morty. Get over it. It was called."
But then
Roy.
he pulls out off the helmet and he's like, my wife, I died, I had cancer. You were selling weapons to a guy. Like, he immediately comes back to reality. Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.